Water everywhere, but none to drink. This is the unfortunate situation Nigeria finds itself. The unbelievable mystery of how provision of potable water to Nigerians has been a long-distant dream is our focus in this episode of Question Time. Welcome to the program. I'm Gbenga Ashiru. Please join in this conversation. Send us your comments on our social media platforms. Indeed, the scary statistics of water supply in Nigeria raises loads of questions on why it's been so difficult for the Nigerian government to provide potable water to its citizenry. Please permit me to read out the facts. Only 7% of Nigerians have access to potable water supply in premises. That's roughly 13 million out of about 180 million Nigerians. What appears more worrisome is the strong indication that National Water Supply Act is a faulty draft. This is because the Water Resources Minister, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, has been moving for the amendment of the Water Act, which stipulates that the federal government provides 30% counterpart funding of the cost of water projects, while states provide 60% and local governments 10%. According to Engineer Adamu, the obligatory 30% counterpart funding of water supply by the federal government to the entire nation is not feasible. He accuses the state government of neglecting the water and sanitation demands of the people. Nigeria's Water Resources Minister, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, is our guest on this episode. He joins us in this interview.
If you recall, in November last year, we launched a new program which we call Partnership for Expanded Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene, which was launched by the Vice President, I think specifically on the 7th of November 2016. That program is meant to address the issues of access water and sanitation in the rural communities. Under the MDGs, our total access was 69% on water supply, very, very dismal in sanitation, about 20-something%. And of that 69% figure, we found that about close to 50% of the rural population are not covered. And therefore, we came up with that program on PWASH, which is still under preparatory stage. We already have like 14, 15 states or 16 that have committed themselves and signed the PWASH protocol. But the truth of the matter is our urban cities also are lacking water supply. You cannot see a single city in this country today that can boast of 100% coverage 24/7. It's just not there. And then a recent study, well, data was collected over the years by the World Bank, financed by the World Bank. We collected the data here in Nigeria. And the analysis of the data has been made. From that study, it showed that pipe-borne water supply, which is usually associated with urban centers, has declined from 32% in 1990 to only 7% in 2015. So only 7% of the urban population in this country are served through pipe-borne water.
If water supply was 32% initially and it has dropped to 7% now, that means we are recording a 25% drop in access to potable water supply. What is responsible for this?
Obviously, because of the absence of data, even if states who are responsible for urban water supply and or who are generally responsible for water supply, if they without the data, they wouldn't know whether they were faring well or not. So the data now showed that whatever efforts that are being made by the states and local governments is not yielding much result. The population is increasing, and the access is declining. It means there is no, the investment being put there is not enough, because we have come to realize that we need 3 times the current investment. You have to multiply the current investment 3 times for us to be able to achieve, some level of comfort. That is not there. States have not been investing money to upgrade systems, to manage there's low capacity.
The Vice President has called for a synergy of all tiers of government to ensure potable water supply and adequate sanitation. What can be done to reinvigorate this value chain for effective delivery of water supply in the country?
Well, first of all, let me make a point of correction. The policy says if any state wants to do a major water project, the federal government can contribute 30% of the funding. The states will contribute 60% and the local government 10%. It's not the water schemes themselves, it's the funding aspect, because essentially the states are responsible for running water schemes. But federal government is coming to intervene, just like the way we're doing on PWASH. We don't have any direct responsibility for water, but because we know the states are sometimes kind of in a disadvantage, they have budgetary issues as well. So federal government complements them, and we're saying, and that policy said federal government will complement their efforts by 30%. But federal government has done that in a number of situations. Several states have benefited, but quite a number of states have not fulfilled their own end of the bargain. For instance, we have recently finished a brand new water scheme. Federal government injected 6 billion naira on the project. We commissioned it last year with fanfare, and now it is under lock and key. The state, we handed it over to the state government, and the state government is now running it. We have projects where the federal government partnered with the state government, built a dam to provide the raw water, went to the extent of even building the treatment plant, and the rest was for the state to do the transmission pipeline, the storage and the distribution network, and they have not done it.